everybody. This is Tonetta. I want to come to you all this morning, of course, with the Tea Time with Tonetta. And the topic of this video today is why did I commit, or why did you commit, is the topic of this video. And I'm bringing this video because I know a lot of times with couples and relationship coaching and counseling and all those kind of things, the first thing we always ask is, why are you committed to your partner? Do you know the reason why you're committed to your partner? And if not, of course, how can you become more committed to your partner to, of course, make things work? I guess I put it that way. And I did want to, like I said, I wanted to get started with this topic this morning because I know it's a hard conversation. And I did have to write down notes this time, y'all. But I know it is a hard conversation that we most times don't want to have. But of course, we have to open up those lines of communication to figure out why we are, of course, in these relationships, why we're, of course, committed to our partner, and why, of course, we want to, of course, work on things to keep things going and for years and years and years on down the line, so that you can celebrate your diamond anniversary and all those kind of things. So like I said, that's the question that I'm asking you all this morning to, of course, start thinking about. And the reason why I'm asking those questions, I know that a lot of us, well, a lot of people, I guess I can say, of course, are either in committed relationships, and at some point you made the choice to, of course, go ahead and get committed. And for those who, of course, on here who are married, at some point you made that choice to, of course, go ahead and get married and go ahead and, I guess, start a union and start a relationship in order to get things going. And I know a lot of people, especially for those who are married, a lot of people, of course, plan for that big day, plan for that big day. You're getting the dress, you're getting the cake, you're getting the caterer, you're getting the food, you're doing all these things, getting the seating arrangements together, finding the event venue, and doing all these things. But of course, we know that the wedding and reception together may be about 5 hours long, and of course, all that preparation for just that one big day for those few hours, we forget that there's life after that. There's life after the big day. There's life whether you're married or committed. There's a day that you, of course, committed to each other. There's life after that. There's life after marriage, I guess, actually getting married. And like I said, that's kind of what this video is going to be focused on, as far as why did you commit? Why did you agree to, though, I guess, getting married, getting committed? And if you are struggling with staying committed to your partner, what are some ways that you can do that, as far as opening up those lines of communication again, as far as your commitment goes inside your relationship? And like I said, that's the main thing, I guess, of this video. I'm trying to make sure I'm on track here. Let me see. Okay. So, for one, some commit for love, money, sometimes for status, all types of things. But the key is to figuring out why you, of course, committed to your partner. Like I said, and the reasons why you'll want to make your relationship work and want it to keep going. Like I said, definitely with committing to your partner and finding out why you committed to your partner, that's a conversation that you all would have to have at some point. I would recommend now sooner than later, because I know that this is definitely a hard thing to, of course, bring up, a hard conversation to have, and I've actually had to bring up this conversation a few times with partners that I've had in the past. Yes, it's definitely hard to bring up this conversation, but if you don't know where you're at, how are you going to know where you're going to, or where you're going to stop going to? I guess I put it that way as well, because in some cases relationships may end, in some cases, of course, they do go on. But at some point, you have to know where you're at in your relationship, know where you are to your partner, and the reasons why you want to keep things going. Of course, here at Speak Your Truth, I'm not advocating for, of course, if the relationship, of course, cannot sustain, and you all two, of course, decide to, of course, part ways and that kind of thing, that's a decision you all will have to make. But of course, at Speak Your Truth, I always advocate for relationships to stay together as long as it's healthy and whole, and you all can, of course, work through things. We're all going to have issues. We're all going to have good days, bad days, and I'll get to that later. But like I said, you have to be willing to, of course, work on those issues. I'm bringing all that up. Like I said again, the hard conversation that you would have to have is ask your partner, talk to your partner, sit down and communicate with your partner as to why you all are in the relationship that you're in, where you're at, and where you're looking to go. I guess after that. That's the first thing, to open up those lines of communication. And just remember that, of course, by you all being in this group, I am speaking to both people in the union, I guess I put it that way, not just one person. Of course, if your partner is not, of course, on here on Facebook or in this group, I definitely would recommend for you to, of course, invite that person, invite your partner in as well. Because, of course, working with anybody's relationship, it is not one-sided. I'm not going to be a coach that's just going to work on the one-sided, I guess, work on just with the women only because I'm a woman. Like I said, I know there's another partner in this relationship, whoever that partner may be. And like I said, in order for you to, of course, work on things within relationship, for me, it cannot be one-sided. You have to work on things together. That's the part of having a relationship, having a committed relationship. Like I said, you have to definitely work on those things together. It cannot be one-sided. And like I said, again, I definitely invite your partners into the group. And of course, if they cannot, or they're not tech savvy, don't like Facebook or whatever the case may be, which I understand that, definitely make sure that you're taking these things back to your partner to, of course, like I said, have those conversations with your partner with. Like I said, there's no such thing of having a one-sided relationship where just the woman's being worked on and getting all this information, getting all this education, inspiration, I guess, for the relationship. But then go back to the relationship to your partner and nothing's happening. And you're like, okay, my partner doesn't know this. They on this level. They don't know this. What's going on? That's because they don't have the same information, the education that you do. So, of course, you either have to add them, whether it's to this group or if you feel comfortable with somebody else, take them to whatever group that is. But definitely make sure that you're taking the communication and the information back to your partner and not just leaving it at just getting all the information. You just know what's going on and leaving your partner in the way when, just like leaving your partner out there just to do nothing, I guess I put it that way. Like I said, if your partner has no idea what you're working on, what you're trying to, and I guess like the information that you're hearing, it's going to be hard for you all to, of course, come together to, of course, continue on in your union. I guess I put it that way. It's going to be hard for you to, of course, just you knowing all this information and your partner is stuck out there, don't know anything that's going on, didn't even know that you're joining this group or joining any other kind of relationship group, or put it that way. You have to make sure that your partner is involved in this process as well. It's not a one-sided situation. It's not I'm just speaking to all the women out there, or I'm just speaking to all the males out there. I'm speaking to both partners within the union, because otherwise there's no way that this can work. I guess I put it that way. Unless that's the kind of relationship that you all have and you all don't care, that kind of thing. That's more power to you. But like I said, I'm the one who wants to see that union. If you're having brokenness inside that union, I want to see you all, of course, prosper to the next step. To, of course, get better with your communication, get better with your commitment to each other, and have a belief and faith and trust. And that's my next thing, as far as you all are willing to, of course, work in this relationship to keep it going. All relationships take work. There's not a one-sided relationship that, well, there are. I've been in many, and I've had a divorce. I've had to end a relationship after 7.5 years as well, because it was kind of one-sided and things were going on. I'll get to that in another video. But like I said, you definitely have to know that it's not one-sided. In order for any relationship to work, which I found out those things too, in order for any relationship to work, the other partner has to be abreast and educated and getting the information and inspiration that you're getting in order to, of course, you all can, of course, bond together, create that union that's going to excel and that's going to stay committed and that's going to stay faithful to each other and those kind of things. So I just want to make sure that I say that. And like I said, if your partner is not in this group, definitely add them. And I'll speak more on that later as well. But definitely, if they're not in the group right now, just like I said, make sure that you're talking to them about this information, because somebody has to open up the lines of communication somewhere. Like I said, if you want to just keep on going and nobody's saying anything, having these hard conversations, how do you expect for your relationship to work? You have to open up those lines of communication in order to get things on the table, on this table, in order for them to, of course, start working, in order for you all to, of course, see where you need to move forward at, see where you need the help at, see where you need the education at, that kind of thing. You have to know that. So like I said, definitely make sure that you're including your partner in whatever you're learning, whether it's in this group or in anybody else's group or under another coach or whoever it's going to be. Make sure that your partner is knowing exactly what's going on, the information that you're getting. If not, like I said, 9 times out of 10, at some point that relationship is not going to flourish into whatever you want to see. I guess I put it that way. And that's, I'm sure, probably commitment. I'm sure, because that's the name of this video. Why did I commit, and why did you commit? And the next thing, you have to, of course, believe that your union can, of course, stay committed. Do you, of course, believe that, I guess, have the faith, trust, and belief in your union, in you and your partner, that you all can, of course, stay committed? Your belief is where everything starts, and that is key. Trust me, y'all, that is definitely the key. You have to be truthful with yourself to know if you're willing to even work on things, if you believe that you both can even get together and work on this relationship. Like I said, each person has to be willing to actually want the relationship, and willing to sacrifice the relationship and things that are going on for one another. Like I said, you definitely have to make some sacrifices. You definitely have to, of course, want to have the relationship. You definitely have to want to believe that this relationship can work, that your marriage or that your committed relationship, of course, can flourish. Can flourish and can grow. If you don't have any belief that your relationship can work, then why are you even in the relationship to begin with? Like I said, you definitely have to get honest with yourself. And when you're having these conversations with your partner, like I said, I know there are definitely hard conversations and hard things to talk about. But at some point, like I said before, in order for you to get where you're going, you have to know where you're at first. You have to know where on what roles or what paths, I guess, you all are focused on at this time. You have to know where you're going in order to get to where you have to know where you're at in order to know where you're going to. Like I said, it takes work. And if you don't have the belief in your relationship, you don't think that your partner even cares anymore, or you don't think that your partner would even care about this information, they're off doing their own thing while you're doing your own thing. If you don't have that kind of belief and faith in your relationship, then why are you in it? Like I said, if you do have that belief and faith in your relationship, even though you're having struggles, even though you're having problems, then go ahead and start working on those things. But at first, they have to be put on the table. Nobody's going to can read your mind, and nobody can read your partner's mind. In order for you all to come together and to join to create a powerful union, you both have to put things on the table that has to be discussed, that has to be worked through in order for you all to, of course, move on to the next stages in your relationship, which hopefully will be more commitment and more communication, and bringing that spark back into your relationship. And I have 3 tips for you all, of course, that I'm going to talk about, I guess, as far as where to start. I know we all ask the question, of course, we all, of course, want to know if we're committed. We don't know what to do, where to start, that kind of thing. And the first thing I can say is definitely, well, not the first thing, but the key is definitely being consistent. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care what kind of communication you're having. In order to improve those things, you definitely have to make sure that you're being consistent with doing the work, consistent with, of course, bringing these hard topics that nobody wants to discuss sometimes. Being consistent with, of course, carrying out the actions that's going to require you to, of course, keep your relationship flowing and going, I guess, and growing as well. The first thing, of course, knowing that you have to be right within in order for you to, of course, be committed to another. And the reason why I say that, because I know sometimes we all get into relationships, because I know I have, expecting our partner to, of course, make us happy, expecting our partner to, of course, fill in those gaps where we feel insecure and all those kind of things. I know we all come into relationships with baggage, with different things. We may be on a level of cheating and that kind of thing, or not being faithful to our partner, having all these distractions, whether it's from social media, from our friends, or from our family, or bringing those folks into our relationship, of course. And of course, we know that bringing all those things within a relationship only builds resentment in the partners within that relationship. Usually the person who's bringing everything in, the other partner, of course, is feeling left out. They're, like I said, building resentment. They're getting upset. Like I said, you definitely have to make sure that you are right within yourself before you, of course, want to move on with any kind of committed relationship. And like I said, with your partner, like I said, again, I know that we have different things, insecurities, baggage that we have from other relationships, lack of trust, all those kind of things. But in order for you to, of course, work through those issues, you have to talk to your partner about those issues, of course, to let your partner know that these are the things that you're facing and that you're ready to work on these things in order to, of course, improve yourself. Like I said, the first thing to any relationship is, of course, making sure that you are improving yourself. You're constantly growing. You're constantly figuring out ways to, of course, love yourself, to give yourself the self-care. Because like I said, if you're just going through things and you're still having all these trust issues, these lack of commitment issues, you don't know how to say I love you anymore to your partner or to whoever you're dating, that kind of thing, that's going to create issues, and that's not going to keep your relationship going. I guess I put it that way. At some point, your partner's going to say, forget this, I'm out of here, I can't deal with this anymore, and be gone. Like I said, you definitely have to make sure sure that you're working on those things within. Because I know I've been, of course, guilty of this in the past. Of course, relationships and the marriage I was in as well. Thinking about all those things, lack of trust and all those things that's happened, and blaming my partner for this, or putting all these issues on my partner when it's my issue to deal with. Like I said, we have to deal with our own shit first before we can go on to deal with another's, and to, of course, be committed to somebody. I'm not saying that you have to break up your relationship in order to do so, but from this day forward, if you can, start working on yourself. Start working on those insecurities that you have. Start working on the reasons why you don't have any trust in your partner. Well, it may not just be your partner, but why you haven't had trust in past relationships, and how that's going to bleed into the relationship that you have right now. Like I said, just because you have all these things going on and you haven't discussed them, they are going to create issues within your relationship in order for you to move forward to a better union, I guess I put it that way. And you have to make sure that you're working on yourself in order to, of course, get those things taken care of as best as you can. And like I said, definitely include your partner in those things. You definitely don't want to go at this alone, especially if you have a partner there that may be going through the same exact things you're going through. You have to talk. You have to figure out these things. You have to talk and figure out what's best for you all to move forward. You can't just, of course, you can just, of course, just sit there and keep going through the same things, not working on yourself and not valuing yourself as a person, not loving yourself, but it's all going to come out in the way that you act towards your partner and the other people that you deal with in your life. So like I said, that's the first thing, making sure that you're getting right within yourself first before you can, of course, fully commit to the person that you're with. Number 2, I have that written down here, going all in. Relationships, like I said before, are definitely hard work. There's going to be easy days, of course, days where things are easy peasy. You both are communicating well, you're doing fine. But then there's going to be those days where there's conflict and struggle. Are you willing to work through those hard times? Are you willing to, of course, commit to your partner and do whatever it takes to stay committed during those hard times and those struggles? Like I said, going all in, that's what you have to do. At some point, you have to know that you have to be that listening ear for your partner. You have to be that shoulder that they can lean on. If they're having a bad day, if they're having a rough time, things are going on, you have to be all in, of course, to, of course, sustain that. To, of course, know that you have to, of course, yes, you can give them tools, things to do. I guess any coach or any person can figure out ways to, of course, take care of themselves and figure out how to move on. But at some point, if you're in a committed relationship, you have to know that you're that support person for that other person when they're not feeling good, when they're having a bad day. If you're needing to take care of that person for whatever reason, that they're having any issues, that kind of thing, you have to be that support person, not being the person to, of course, degrade them, put them down, or you just dumb, you don't know what you're doing, or you ain't doing this, you're less of a man, you're less of a woman, all those kind of things, just putting people down and talking about them, making them feel like children, I guess I put it that way, because that's how some men have said, and some women have said to their partners as well, of how they felt. And I've said that, of course, as well to my partner as well, and they've said it to me. So like I said, we have to make sure that we're, of course, going all in, and that we're willing to work through all those hard and rough times and not just give up on things. That's the part of commitment. I'm trying to see here, I have all these notes down here. Okay, I'm trying to make sure I'm going over everything. Being the shoulder for your partner to lean on, and being that listening ear. I do have that down. I just want to make sure I repeated that. And just to make sure that you all know that you have to value those moments when you all are having the good times as well as when you're having those bad times. But you have to be willing to, of course, go all in to do whatever it takes to make your partner feel cared for, wanted, heard, and happy. Like I said, I know before I just said that we can, of course, make our partners happy, but you can, of course, create those happy experiences for your partner to show that you, of course, hear what they say, that you, of course, care for them, and, of course, that you, of course, want them. I guess I put it that way. And what I mean by that, of course, if you know your partner loves baseball or basketball, buy your partner a ticket to go to the game, I guess, with his best buddy, that kind of thing. That, of course, make your partner feel that you, of course, support him. You, of course, hear what he or she has to say. You, of course, are there. You're listening. You're not just, of course, having one thing go in one ear and go out the other. That you, of course, care for them. That, of course, if your partner loves massages or that kind of thing, book your partner a spa day, that kind of thing. Create some kind of happiness in their life as well, to let them know that you're willing to to do what it takes to, of course, stay committed to this relationship and to, of course, inject some kind of happiness into their life as well. Even if that happiness means that you all, of course, taking nice trips and doing nice things together. Like I said, those are memories that you will never forget, and those are things that will always stick out in your head. But that's something that you and your partner did, and that you all are happy at doing that. Like I said, you definitely cannot make the other person happy, but you can inject those happy experiences into the relationship to, of course, put them at ease, to let them know, like I said, that you, of course, care for them, you feel them, you see them, you want them, and that you, of course, hear them. Like I said, we have to do those things. At some point, we have to do that. Like I said, of course, if you're wanting to, of course, not do those things and not see it through, that your partner feels heard or feels cared for, you're not going all in to, of course, make sure this commitment is going to be A1 to you and to your partner, then it may not last. So just keep that in mind. I'm sure you all know that, but it definitely may not last or be able to sustain through those hard times. I guess I put it that way. And that's part 2, going all in. Number 3, okay, this is one thing that I've had to work on a lot in my relationships as well, but it's being willing to listen to your partner and understanding their point of view. The reason why I put this down here, of course, where do you start being consistent at this? You have to understand that your partner is a totally individual person. They're going to have their own wants and needs and happiness or whatever they're going to do. And you have the same thing. They have their own judgments. You have yours too. Like I said, I know the first thing that we all go back to, of course, we get to is, of course, understanding our own point of views. But I said, of course, at some point you have to listen to your partner's wants and needs in order to understand their point of view. Like I said, you're a couple, and this is part of that commitment. You will have a point of view, but like I said, be willing to hear your partner out and humble yourself in order to, of course, know what they want. Like I said, you definitely have to humble yourself. You definitely have to catch yourself if you're about to go off on somebody or you don't agree with what they say. You may not agree with anything that they say or how they feel. But you have to, of course, if you're in a committed relationship, you do have to, of course, respect it. Like I said, you don't have to agree with anything that they're saying, but just be willing to, of course, know that you have to understand their point of view and where they're coming from. If you're not willing to understand their point of view, you're not willing to humble your own self to, of course, understand your partner's wants and needs, to be able to sustain a relationship that may not work. I guess I put it that way. It may not work for you all, but like I said, if you're definitely willing to commit to your partner, to understand their wants and needs, and to, of course, listen to your partner and understand their point of view, then, like I said, you definitely have a chance at, of course, continuing on in your relationship to make it more committed and to, of course, open up those lines of communication. Like I said, at some point you have to realize that what matters to you. Does it matter that you are always right, or does it matter that you all can, of course, work together as far as coming together on like a middle ground to, of course, figure out what you all are going to do, that kind of thing, and how you're going to move forward. It does not pay to always be right. Trust me, I used to always want to be right in my marriage and the relationships I've been in, all that kind of stuff. I had to learn that it's not all about being right. And that goes from whether it's a partner to your job to dealing with your family to anybody. It's not always about being right, especially if you're in a committed union. It's not all about being right, y'all. I definitely want to make sure that you all hear that. It's about listening to what the other person is saying, understanding what they're saying, hearing what they're saying, valuing what they're saying, and, of course, understanding their wants and needs in order for you all to come together to, of course, meet at a middle ground somewhere. I guess I put it that way. Like I said, you definitely do not have to you definitely have to respect what they're saying, especially if you all are wanting to, of course, continue your relationship. And I'm hoping that you do, because like I said, I'm here fighting for the couples and that kind of thing as well, because I know that's what we need. And like I said, I'm just hoping that you all understand that is not, of course, just is your way or the highway, or is what is it called? People say the happy wife, happy life. That's not how that shit works. Like I said, if the wife is happy, she can be happy all she wants. But if the husband is miserable, unhappy, resentful of this happy wife, happy life stuff, then what kind of relationship do you have? You're just roommates living in the house, trying to make things work because you all are comfortable with each other. Like I said, at some point you have to realize and ask yourself those questions. What am I here for? Again, why am I committed to this relationship? And what am I do to stay committed to this relationship so that it can grow and so it can flourish? And again, like I said, where to start is first asking yourself and your partner those hard questions about why you all are committed in the first place. Yes, I know, like I said in the beginning of this video, that that's a hard question to ask somebody, but in order for you to know where you're going, you have to know where you're starting from. So like I said, you definitely have to, of course, know that first. I guess that first and foremost. Why are you committed to this person? And what are you willing to do in order to keep this commitment going? And the ways, of course, you can start, of course, is always consistent with the communication. It's always, of course, communication is always number one in my book, because that's what this business, Speak Your Truth, of course, is based off of, speaking your truth in your relationship, opening up those lines of communication to make sure that you are on the same page and know where you all are going to. And like I said, the ways you can get started, of course, first is being consistent with whatever actions you're taking. And I did put these 3 actions down here for you all, these action steps that you all can start taking today. The first one is, of course, knowing that you have to figure out who you are, being more self-aware, and working on those issues that you have as far as the lack of trust, insecurities, those kind of things in past relationships, and not bringing into this new union. And if you're already in the union, of course, you have to start working on ways that you can clear those things and get over those things. Like I said, I know there's a lot to get over and a lot to, of course, talk about and a lot to do, but you have to know that you're, of course, right within yourself in order for you to, of course, join a 100% committed union with somebody else. If you're not right within yourself, you're still looking at the other folks and wandering eyes, and you got your friends telling you how to be in your relationship, or you got your mom always calling saying, girl, or daughter, you need to leave him, or son, you need to leave her, she's no good. Like I said, you have to know what it means to, of course, get yourself together so that you can focus on your relationship only and not having all these other distractions going on, I guess, around you. I guess I put it that way, and telling you how to run things. You have to be the leader in your life in order to run things in your own relationships. That's the first one. Know who you are. And the second one, again, was going all in. Relationships, of course, require hard work, but you have to be committed and sacrifice in order for things to work inside that union. You have to be willing to go through those good times and those hard times in order to see through those hard times, in order for things to, of course, continue growing and prospering for you all. And number 3, be willing to listen to your partner and understand their point of view, and not always wanting to be right. You have to come to some kind of middle ground. Just always remember that, y'all. And like I said again, why did you all commit? That's the first thing that you need to ask yourself. And like I said, talking to your partner, making sure that you're bringing up these hard conversations. Yes, I know they're very hard to bring up, like I said before, but you definitely, in order to know where you all are, you have to talk about those things. Yes, it's going to be probably some crying, some different things being said, but make sure that you're fighting fair. And I'll do that video at some other time, but just make sure that you're fighting fair. Of course, you're keeping your mind open, like I said, understanding your partner, not just telling them how you feel and how you're resentful and how you hate them and how you this. Fight fair, come out with the positive instead of all the negative. Yes, you can still say the negative, but of course you can frame it in a way that I feel so-and-so when you do this. You have to kind of frame it in that way instead of, oh, you do this all the time, I hate that, blah, blah. I feel so-and-so when you do this is how you can start that. I guess I put it that way, as far as to open up those lines of communication. And like I said, that's the best advice I can give today. I guess I put it that way, as far as why did you commit? And like I said, there's a movie out there called Why Did I Get Married? It doesn't matter whether you're married or committed, that kind of thing. There's all kind of relationships in that movie. And I would suggest, if you all can, I guess, give you all this little tip, I guess, if you all want to entertain yourself with the movie, if you have access to it today, to definitely watch that movie with your partner so you all can talk about some of the things that, of course, come up in this movie. It's all those distractions, insecurities, all the lack of trust, all that baggage, all that kind of stuff. And they're talking about Why Did I Get Married? The lady actually wrote a book in that movie, actually. Well, it's based on a book that she wrote, Why Did I Get Married? And trying to find out why they got married and how they're going to commit to each other to, of course, stay in this union. And like I said, that's definitely a good movie that you all can watch on this Saturday. You and your partners, I guess, so you all can, of course, start opening up those lines of communication to get things going. I guess I put it that way, because especially if it's a hard conversation, you're not used to going to your partner talking in this kind of way. Watching that movie may, of course, get you all talking along those lines to communicate about things that you can do and where you all are and where you all want to go. I guess I put it that way. So with that, I do want to end here again. I just want to let you all know, like I said, I know I talked about it earlier in the video, but just to remind you all that meet with this group, Speak Your Truth. I'm talking to couples, men and women, and just to expect and just to know that there will be at some point men in this, I guess more men in this group and couples and that kind of thing as well. I don't want us just to have a one-sided group where there's more women, 15 women on like 2 men. We definitely have to make, at least I'm going to make sure that we have, of course, not just an even number, but we just, of course, have we have even information coming out across the board. I'm sure there's other couples, other men, other women that you can, of course, talk to in the group or put your information out there, what's going on, what you're struggling with, that they may be able to assist you all with. I mean, me included as well, being the coach, me too included. But like I said, this group just will not be just focused on women, just to let you all know. I'm focusing on the whole couple, the couple as a whole, because I know we're dealing with couples. It cannot be just one side. I cannot just work with the men or cannot just work with just women only. And you all have to go back to your relationships, and information is not being given, education is not being said to your husband or your partner, and they don't know what's going on and what you're doing, what's happening. All they see is changes going on within you, but you're not assisting in that in that union. Like I said, for me, it has to be couples, I guess men and women in this group instead of just all women, that kind of thing. So I just want to make sure that you all know that moving forward, that there will be, of course, other men in this group. There will be, of course, women in this group. Hopefully they're all couples. I can't control who all comes in, but to a certain extent, I guess I put it that way. But I do want to say, if I start seeing some craziness going on or things being said, I will pull those folks, whoever it is, aside to, of course, talk to them, let them know what the rules are here in the group in order for us to all, of course, cohesively work together, of course. Like I said, I know I'm a coach here. I'm sure there may be other coaches, of course, joining the group as well. But like I said, I definitely anticipate having men and women here across the board, because in my eyes, I can't just discuss things with the woman when there's the man to be left out, and when there's situations and information that the man needs as well. There's no way that you can work on a relationship just one-sided for me. And I just want to make sure that you all knew that, and that's the route that I'm going, I guess I put it that way. Just in case you all start seeing other men, other women coming in, you're like, what's going on? That kind of thing. Like I said, this is for couples and committed relationships, so there will be both sexes here. And I know we always talk about the battle of the sexes, and men are from women, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, or however that went. And of course, we have to, of course, on some point start these taboo communications, start these taboo conversations that folks are scared to, of course, talk about. And I'm not just going to talk about them with just women only, because I'm a woman. I'm going to talk about them with the men and the women included. Like I said, in order for us to, of course, work through all these relationship issues, commitment issues, insecurity issues, lack of trust issues, we have to hear it from both sides at a lot of times. That's how we stay stuck, and that's why I guess in my eyes, that's the reason why some of us are, of course, not growing inside of our relationship. We're just getting one-sided information, and we have to work on both people inside their relationship in order for that union to, of course, thrive and prosper. And that's what I want to see. So like I said, definitely, I hope that you all enjoyed the video. Why did you commit? And I hope you all, if you all have any questions, comments, suggestions, anything, please do put that down below. I do not mind. And I do want you all to, of course, talk about this, that kind of thing as well. So, of course, like I said before in the beginning of this video, if your partner is not in this group and they are on Facebook, please definitely invite them. And if they're not in this group, if they're not tech savvy, they hate social media, definitely make sure that you're taking this information back to them, so it won't just be one-sided. You're getting all the information and they get nothing. So with that, I want to say again, this is one of the conversation starters. I know it's a hard conversation to have within your relationship, but if you don't know where you're at right now, you have no idea where you're going to. So with that, I'm going to say thank you again for tuning in. And hey, sis Rachel, thank you for tuning in as well. And I saw Mario on here too earlier. Hey, sis, I hope you all, and I hope both of you are well. And for those who catch the replay, do enjoy. And like I said, if you have, please do leave comments, questions, suggestions, anything that you may have below. And I hope that this video comes to you at a time that you need to hear this. I guess I put it that way. And with that, I'm going to get off here. Love you all. Everybody take care and have a great Saturday. All right, you all. Bye-bye.